Hello, everyone. Welcome to Taylor Talks. I'm Craig Schanbacher, Interactive Director at Taylor. We are going to tackle one of our core principles at Taylor, Taylor United core principles. We talk about those all the time, but sometimes we don't define them. What is it? What does it mean? How do we do it well? Problem solving relentlessly. When that language came out, it's like, okay, well, we all problem solve. What does that mean? How do we do it? So we're going to dive into that a little bit. Before we do, let's get to know the experts in the room. Are going to give us a little bit of knowledge. Christina, who are you and what do you do at Taylor?
Hi, Craig. Cristina Graziano. I am Vice President of Enterprise Sales for Taylor. So I lead one of our regions and focus on really keeping some of our largest enterprise accounts happy and growing.
You are problem solving every day. This will be easy. It'll be right.
That is a fact. That's the role that we're in.
Kelsey, who are you and what do you do at Taylor?
Yeah. Hi, Craig. I'm Kelsey. I'm a marketing specialist here at Taylor, and I manage all things Taylor social media.
Yes. And we have lots in common. We'll talk about that as well. Before we do, Taylor, who are you and what do you do at Taylor? And hello.
Hello, Craig. I'm Taylor Brown. I'm a marketing specialist here in the MCOE, and I am a marketing business partner. So I work directly with some of the businesses at Taylor and support their marketing efforts.
I know all three of you reasonably well. You all do your jobs exceptionally well. You attack things, you do it well, and that's problem solving. But I think maybe is it just when you get the wrinkle, you get the audible, and you're like, oh, that's where we're at our best. If you were to tell someone not part of Taylor or just new to Taylor, and they said, problem solving relentlessly, what are we talking about? What does that mean? How do we do it? What is that? Christina, what does problem solving relentlessly mean to you?
I like to joke that every easy situation has already been solved for. So where we are now in a sales process, most customers that have a need to make a move, they're either going to move because something's not working, maybe they've got service disruption or issues, or they have a major challenge that they haven't found a way to solve before. So to me, it means, we've got to be super, super curious, not just about what impacts our world, but what impacts the big picture. Learn about all of that. And then I think what's unique about what we do at Taylor is we're not afraid to do something differently. We've got, we're built by all these acquisitions over the years. So we have a lot of expertise. We have a lot of capabilities. And it's having that curiosity with customers to ask the right questions and then come back internally and look at how can we challenge the status quo and how can we use everything that we have at our disposal. And also the fact that we're a flexible and nimble company that can make investments and go, invest in new equipment or new technology or new processes to try and solve a problem that maybe hasn't been solved already.
Yeah, you hit the phrase that I was expecting to hit, not to paraphrase, being nimble, right? Because we are not just here's solution A, that's all we do. Your enterprise sales, that is not your world. Your world is finding the pain point and finding creative ways to reach that solution. Why is that a challenge?
It's a loaded question.
Yes, it is.
Why? Well, I mean, it's a challenge because you're charting, you're charting a course and, that hasn't been done before, right? So there's a lot of testing that goes into that. There's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of trust that has to go into that. And I think that trust has to come, a customer's trust that they're putting in us to know that we're going to do what we said we're going to do. And also that we may not have all the answers and we might have a lot more questions and answers up front, but that we're going to figure it out together. So I think that's a big part of it, right? Trust isn't built overnight. So sometimes you have a brand new, somebody that you're talking to newly, and it's how do you build trust in small ways first with maybe some things that aren't quite as, groundbreaking, but we show the kind of partner we are, the way we approach business, and then it poises us for the opportunity to then say, okay, you've got a major transformational need that you have, and here are ways that we can approach getting it done. And being prepared to, flex if we find that something that we planned for doesn't work quite the way we thought it would, but keep problem solving and then adjusting and adapting till we get it right.
Yeah, and then Christina sells this amazing solution, and then Taylor, we're working on some sort of campaign, right? And then the problems do come up, and we have to be creative and nimble and flexible. What is that problem solving list to you when you think about, there are the things that we do day to day because, okay, that's similar, I've seen that before, but then every once in a while there is that new, oh, that's unique, that customer has a unique challenge. How do you approach that?
So my role is slightly different than Christina's, where I don't work directly with the customer at all, but I work a lot with the sales reps who work with the customers. So my biggest role in problem solving is usually like, if you don't know something, somebody on our team does. So it's being experts at communication and being able to ask for help and looking for who to reach out to. And Taylor, everybody I've encountered within my team and even within other teams is always willing to help. And that's how I problem solve typically. I learn from other people who have done the role longer than I have, or who are in a different role with different expertise. And it's usually just, making that communication chain to figure out how to best solve a problem or create something new or solve a challenge or anything like that.
Yeah. It's been have you been here 5 years?
5 in August, so close.
Yeah, it's that in every meeting, there's that, and it always impresses me. You get in groups within Taylor, and there's, I'm a couple years in, but then there's the 20, 30, 40 years, and the knowledge in the room. You hit it to be able to tap into those experts, and you don't do it by yourself. You're going to get stuck, right? It's just collaboration, etc. Yep. Kelsey, in your world, and we're working together a lot on, here's the video and what are we going to do, etc. But it is always a scheduling challenge and always how do we make the most impact and get that message out at the right time for the right people, etc. How do you problem solve relentlessly?
Yeah, that's the thing about social media. It's constantly changing. It's how do we keep up? What worked great once? How are we going to replicate that? Or how can we make it, work again? So I think just continually adapting and learning, trial and error. Like I said, what works once probably won't work again. So just working out with the team, what we think will be best. And I think our biggest goal for this year has been to be more proactive rather than reactive, like plan ahead, plan out. And then rather than being like, oh, wait, this cool thing's happening, let's try to do that too, trying to work ahead of it rather than after the fact.
Yeah. And the not getting stuck in the rut is I'm the old person in the room and like I have my habits and my patterns. And at the same time, whether social media or sales or whatever, being able to find that, new innovative way.
Yeah.
Not just the way I've always done it, etc. When someone within Taylor would say, okay, we're doing this, but why is it important? Because again, we all work hard to do our jobs well. But again, sometimes there are those challenges that hit us where we're like, you could just, we could try this, whatever. But it's important to get it done. It's important to really find the best solution, not just go, okay, that would work. So value, why is it important? Comments. Kelsey, let's go back the other way. Any thoughts?
I think I kind of just go back to what I was saying about social media constantly changing. People's expectations evolve, through whatever we're trying to promote or change. And then anyone that's willing to adapt to stay ahead, I think it's going to show that we're innovative, we're more efficient, and, we're constantly open to those new ideas and changes.
Yep. Taylor.
Marketing, there's so many tactics, and sometimes we start to say, hey, let's do this for this solution because it's what we've always done. But if it doesn't bring value, it doesn't bring eyes, it doesn't bring revenue, then it shouldn't be done. So instead of saying, hey, we're going to do this because it's what we've done, let's take a look at it, problem solve, like we were talking about, and do it the right way. Even if it takes a little bit longer in strategy and planning and more communication is needed, more hours are needed, we're going to do it right instead of just doing something else because we're asked to do it.
Yep. Yeah, we all have the things we do that we know are going to succeed or I've done that before, but then sometimes taking it one more level, trying something a little bit new, always a better way, right? Christina, thoughts on the reasons why we need to do it?
I think that Taylor said it well, and Kelsey, things, whether you're talking about marketing, social media, sales, the way people buy, the way that people utilize the services that we provide, print related services, that's changing constantly. So I think if we're not problem solving and if we're not really listening to our customers, to the people that are closest to our customers, and and to varied opinions and perspectives within the organization, we'll get left behind. So I think problem solving is critical. And, we do have so much experience of people that have been here for many, many years. But I think the cool thing has always been the way that those people take perspective from the people that are just starting out. And, that is where I think you get a lot of the impact, right? Listening to people who just came out of school and see things totally different.
Yep. Perspective. Yep. If I were to ask each of you for a practice, a tip, or a strategy. So we all have, you think about your day-to-day activities. Christina, you're thinking about the next sales engagement or discussion with someone. And Kelsey, you're thinking about that campaign and why hasn't Craig got that video done or whatever. Taylor, you're thinking about the next campaign project. We have that. We all have the practices, the tips, the things we do, whether how we stay organized or write things down or memos or notes or cheats or systems. So share with me your brilliance. What can we give the audience today that might help them go, that's a tip. I could think about that or do it that way to help me problem solve better.
I have a long list of to-dos. I call it my TTD list, things to do. And every morning I go through, because you're not going to get everything done in one day, especially when new things come up. And I've done this for over a year now, and it's really helped me. I prioritize that list because it's changing every single day. And, I have to rearrange things at the top. This is hot. This is important. This is revenue generating. And then some things slide to the bottom because they're important, but less important, still important. And just going through the day that way and tackling like what's most important first has really helped me.
Cool. Kelsey, you got something?
Yeah, I would say managing a team. While we're a small little social team, it's still important to continually work on improving our processes, workflows, all of that. And I think just having that really open line of communication with the team, like constantly checking in, like, hey, how's this going? How can I support you? Where do we need to reach out to someone else to have that support? So that's been big on our team. And I feel like we really have that really tight knit, close team that we don't feel like we know, hey, I have to do this all by myself. Like we're very comfortable asking for that support from our team. And then of course you, Craig, and anyone else that supports social media. So I think that's a big thing in our day to day.
Yeah. And Christina and Taylor probably see this, but you're right. The number of times where you or I have had a question and then you throw it to the group and someone throws out an idea and it's not normally the first idea, but try this. And you get to that better solution quickly. Because someone weighed in and you're not living on an island. Absolutely. Absolutely. Christina, do you have I know you do. Well, pick one. What's one tip strategy that people could consider adding to help them problem solve better?
Well, I think that what Kelsey just shared was kind of right where I was going to go with it. There are so many different ways that you can approach a problem. There's so many different ways us at Taylor can solve a problem. And I think depending who you're talking to, what, groups within the business you're aligning with, there may be 3 or 4 different ways that you can approach the same problem to get to a solution. And, many of them may be the right solution or a suitable solution. So I think sharing, like within our teams, collaborating, sharing, one of the biggest, I don't know if you'd call it a strategy, but I think mindset is that we're all on the same team. Sometimes in a sales environment or anywhere you might, you think of like that competition and healthy competition, certainly. But I think we approach things in a very collaborative way. We're all on the same team. And if we share experiences about the challenge that you uncovered over here, how you solved it, that's oftentimes where we know to start for the next challenge that we approach. So I just think the collaboration is key. Staying curious and using using our teams and not hoarding knowledge in a vacuum. I think that's the easiest way to fast track some of the problem solving that we do, to see how other people have solved similar problems or things that have some similarities.
To leave our audience with something that they can take away, and I appreciate all of your time. Taylor is unique in the fact that we're a private organization. We take pride in being nimble, being able to roll, get creative, do things differently for our customer, maybe find a different niche or a solution or way to do it. When you think about your teams, I'll maybe ask all of you to brag on your team, thinking about a great example of problem solving, something that's gone, oh, that was unique, that was different, that helped. And I will start saying that video every day, at least once a month, I'm going to shoot something, and then I reached out to someone else in our marketing creative group, and I ask for feedback. And it never fails. It's, oh, try this, or a little colorization, or a tweak, or did you consider doing this? And it's a little subtle technique that gets me out of a rut that then solves that problem. Because again, the video would have been fine. Customer may have loved it, but I love the fact that I can reach out to someone on the team and say, here's that draft number 2. I'm close. How do I take it to the next level? And then I get that little bit of feedback, that little tweak, and I'm like, oh, that did it, and it made it better. So Cristina, you've got a great sales organization, lots of people that I know. When you think about, them going out and getting in front of customers and then solving a problem and doing that well, brag on the team. What comes to mind?
Well, I mean, I could brag. How much time do you have, Craig? Because I could brag all day. We have a really phenomenal team. And the team spans a lot deeper. Like, nothing gets solved by just one area of the team. So like, I could speak about all of the things that, my counterparts here, Taylor and Kelsey, all the things that their teams do that allow my team to do what they do so well. One that comes to mind because it's an exciting project is for, I will not name names, but a well-known quick serve restaurateur. We are doing a really fun project for right now to do a special calendar. And I've been really proud of our team. I'll shout out a couple names if they're hearing this. Brian Douglas and Donald Miller, that are part of our business development and sales organization, have just done an incredible job. I talk a lot about, and I did earlier, about being curious and, really understanding the full scope of like what the customer is trying to accomplish. Because at the end of the day, like, the output is a calendar, but it means so much more than that, right? This is a big product for this brand. So they've done an amazing job to understand, like, how are they going to be used in the field? Who is going to be appreciating them? How are they going to be distributed and actually get out into market? And so much of that curiosity has fed into ultimately then how the amazing chops of our, really material engineers and the solution architects behind the scene have been able, at our facility in Rochester, Minnesota, where these are being manufactured, has been able to respond with, different material options that fit the need, different finishing and, paperweights and things like that, that'll really accomplish what they're trying to do, and do it within budget, within the time frame. And it's been incredible getting to spend some time out with the team to just see how excited and passionate the entire facility is about this work that we get to do. So, shout out to the team in our Rochester, Minnesota facility that is just killing it, producing, millions and millions of calendars, and shout out to our sales team and all the support that we've had. It's been a fun one.
I love your story. And I love the fact that I've been with Taylor a while. the fact that when we go out, it's not just can solution A and you hit it. It's that we could do it, but here are 3 or 4 ways, and finding the way that really resonates with the customer and is not just, oh, yep, we could do this, but diving in, finding the unique way and the different unique variable there that just solves it. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
I have
Kelsey.
one more thing,
Oh,
Craig,
yeah,
because I
go.
can't stop,
Yeah.
but I was just going to
Oh,
say, I think Taylor, your team, Jenna Worrell, this unnamed customer, they were a big part of our initial pitch and how we were able to show up. So, we went from, from being kind of like a non-known entity to having such a deep trust and, doing more and more great work together. So Taylor's team in marketing allowed us to like really capture what we were, the essence of like, the passion we had for this brand and what we were trying to do. So I think that's how it kind of all comes full circle in problem solving.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's a perfect segue actually to what mine was. So I'm going to jump in and say customer visits and, meetings. Our marketing team we like to show up and, create a creative space for the customer because we want to let them know that Taylor is listening to them. We see them as we see their brand and we can help them. So we had a recent customer visit where all the stops were necessary: signage, samples, printouts, boxes. And my team specifically, I'm so lucky to work with incredibly talented designers on Gary Camarado's team. And then Pat Hagen, the copywriter, can come up with creative slogans that intertwine both of our brands. And Brandon Riebling specifically designed a beautiful box for us that showed our brand mixed with their brand. And it all happens so quickly, and the way they can get it done quickly for us and we can get it produced in time. So when the customer shows up, it's perfectly branded for them, and it really supports the visit for both sales and the customer. So.
Yep. Standing out. Always a problem
Yeah.
I want to solve. Absolutely. Kelsey.
Yeah, I mean, actually, kind of going off of that, I was going to just brag about how good everybody is at their job in the marketing center of excellence across the board at Taylor. Our digital marketing team, they inspire me to want to be better at my job every day, because seeing the results we're getting is just so incredible, and it's inspiring to me to want to make our social team that much stronger. Which brings me to my little social team. We have started with just me, and now we've grown, and we have had everyone on the team, from someone retiring to someone fresh out of college and an internship to Ryan Blevins, who just celebrated 16 years with the company. So it's fun to see that broad range, but we all work together and mesh so well. And it doesn't matter that Ryan's been here 16 years. Ava Brettel has only been here. She just hit 2 years. They work together like, they mesh so well, and it's just so fun to see and how collaborative everyone is and supportive. So shout out to everyone at Taylor.
It is fun when you're on a team that succeeds and does well. We can all agree to that. Makes problem solving a lot easier. So thank you, ladies, for your time. We hope that clients and listeners and everyone at Taylor went, oh, I relate to that, got something out of it, are able to take a tip or a little bit of advice and hopefully get through their day with maybe a little bit of an advantage. So anyway, appreciate your time, and we will see everyone next time on Taylor Talks. Thanks.